Hello, hello, hello. We are back. Stories from Mamas. Today we got a good one. Okay, we got a good one. But let's get our co-host Jack. Okay, let me make sure my volume is where it's supposed to be. Um, the throat is lubricated.
Hey, girl.
Hey, Fran.
Art thou?
Okay, okay. Good. I'm good. No, wait, hold on. Is this fresh? Is this?
Girl, no, thank you. Oh, praise the Lord. Because listen, as soon as we get done, I got to go to a hair appointment. Like, I got to pew across the street. Yeah.
Listen, I'm just a little tucked away right now.
Okay. Look, you home. Okay. I didn't think I was going to be home today. Literally just left the doctor.
Wow.
And the appointment was so quick. Like, my appointment was at 8:55. I was
Hmm.
back in my car by 9:15.
You know what? And I'll take it because sometimes it'd be the reverse.
Yeah.
It'd be 10 o'clock and you still ain't seen the doctor yet.
And
Okay.
I shan't complain.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone to Stories from Mamas. We got me, Dr. Sha'Rose, and Jasmine Mitchell, your beautiful co-host. Yeah, we had to truly remember what we told y'all last week that we were going to talk about. Welcome to Mom Life and Mom Brain. But we did remember. Okay. And today we're talking about mom friends and making friends. Wait, we said making friends as adults with children.
Yes.
Okay. So it's not just about making friends as moms, it's about making friends as adults with children because that shit is hard.
What you said. What you said. And hard. It ain't even just hard. It's exhausting sometimes because
Mm-hmm.
navigating
Yeah.
the foolery,
The foolery.
the
Mm,
foolery.
mm.
Mm.
Okay. How did we become friends? How did we become mom friends?
Well, we were
Yes.
introduced by a mutual friend.
Yes.
Shout out Kayla, shout out Lay Hair Care.
And, ooh, ooh,
Hey, you
listen.
need a black owned hair care product. That's just it's gonna do what it says it does, and your hair don't my edges from postpartum. Laid hair care. Thank you, Lord. Okay,
Listen, we just need to do a whole ad for them,
'cause the
okay?
way they was gone, mhm. But yeah, Kayla introduced us. We went to a networking
Mm-hmm.
event at the Catalyst Center. If you guys don't know anything about the Catalyst Center,
Amazing.
um, they're great. They support women-owned businesses, like anything you need for your business getting started, funding structure. They point you in the right direction. They have people
Coaching.
that guide you and
Mm-hmm.
mentor you, and it's wonderful. Um,
And it's
so
free.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. But I was relaunching my business postpartum
Yeah.
and just didn't really know where to start. So I was like, I'm gonna go attend this event. I wanted to go see Kayla speak. We've
Yeah.
known each other since grade school, like elementary, running around the same little hallways. And I'm just so proud of her. Like my heart is just overwhelmed at her success. Like I'm so proud of her. So I wanted to go support.
Yeah.
And also wanted to like I needed the information. Like, sis, you're doing it well.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing it more
How?
than well. Like I'm gonna come sit and listen to what you got to say. So yeah, that's what I did. At the end, they had a little cocktail hour with food and hors d'oeuvres and stuff. And I just wanted to make sure I spoke to Kayla. So I walked up to her and I was trying not to be rude. I was trying to wait because you guys were talking. And Kayla, she chats in about a minute, so you can't get a word in.
No.
And she was just very casually like, and the crazy thing is, I still laugh at this to this day. I could not understand what she said when she said your name. And I didn't like I because you remember when I introduced you the first time to
Yeah.
somebody. But I was just like, I don't know what she said this lady's name was, but me being me, once upon a time ago, I was a very shy person. I was gonna ask. I wasn't because I was like, you should have been listening better. You'll figure it out.
No.
Um, But yeah, she introduced us. We exchanged contact information. I think we actually chatted a little bit with a few more
Mm-hmm.
women around a table and just talked. And then I thought this lady was crazy because she told me, her kids are in bed at 7:30. They get up at 5. And I'm just looking at this lady like, girl,
Not you thinking I'm crazy.
I because the way my child would just not go to sleep. I was like, I don't know what this woman is doing, but it came off at the time, and just because
Uh-huh.
of the place that I was in, it was very much giving very tyrant lifestyle in your house. 7:30, they're in bed. 5 o'clock, their alarms go off. They know they gotta get. I was like, oh my God,
That's
the
so
poor children.
funny.
And so then
Oh
I
my
I
gosh.
don't remember what actually prompted us to sit down and talk.
Yeah.
I can't for the life of me remember when we actually reached out to each other to
Hmm.
sit down and have that meeting at the Orion, not the Orion, at
The camp.
yeah,
I think this
I really
is
can't.
so funny. Like, listen to your perspective is hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay? Um, I mean, you're absolutely right on how we met, and you, I was in the mix of yelling at Kayla because
Yes.
yes, because
Yeah.
we have to do that sometimes, and
Mhm.
then you were agreeing with me, and I said, "Oh, this woman knows what she's talking about." Okay, because if she's yelling at her too, that means you just do whatever you want. You just don't listen to your friends.
And doesn't, and she
It
never
doesn't,
has.
and that's okay.
Never
But we still gonna yell
has.
at you because we love you. Okay. So to me, I said, "Oh no, she on the right path." And then we did talk to a few other people, but your story on, and I think you did share it with me, like you when you figured out what I did, or I said it again, you shared
Yeah.
me that how you knew about pelvic floor therapy, and then
Hmm.
how upset you were at how late it took you to get to it, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so you're 1 year advocate. You're a referral person because you do personal training, and I don't touch a gym. I really don't like it. People be wanting to do it, and I'm always looking for somebody else to do it for me, which was you. So I was like, from that standpoint, business to business, it made sense for us to connect. And then, and I did not see our friendship blooming how it has,
No.
to be honest. Like, because I meet a lot of people, and I get, a lot of business people in that setting, right? So I'm not necessarily open to like deeper friendships or things like that.
Mhm.
Like, I try to keep it very separate.
Yeah.
That because when you talk about tyrant and my children going to bed, I get that a lot actually,
Mhm.
which is what makes it hard for me to make mom friends, is because I have systems in place.
Yeah.
I have systems in place for myself, for my children, for my husband, for my business. I need them. Most people need system and structure. They just don't. They fight against it.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I did that for many, many years. And then I said, well, what if I just leaned into this a little bit? Would my life be better and I'd be happier? Yes. So when I say that stuff though, it does make it hard because you acknowledge like where you were at that time, but other people, it becomes like an attack on me saying like, oh, you a better
Mhm.
mom than me. Your kids go to bed at 7:30. Oh, you don't co-sleep with them. It becomes a judgment,
Yeah.
and really it's like, nah. I worked really fucking hard to put these kids down at 7:30. Like, we fought. They fought me. I fought them. But guess what? At 7:30 they go down and we have our night, you
Yeah.
know? And it's not, and so it becomes, and I think part of it is that it can be that mom guilt, or that the ideas of what parenthood should look like, that people are, it feels like an attack when I say like, I have these systems and they work for me,
Hmm.
and people may be in other places. So it's funny you said that because I get that a lot.
I mean, but that, the moment we sat down and talked, like that preconceived idea that I had, it was all gone. Like that, it just completely, and I do think because we went into this relationship strictly for
Hmm.
business, that it left a lot of room for possibility because we weren't searching for anything.
Right.
So everything kind of just happened authentically. And your kids, your girl, our parenting styles are so similar in a lot of ways. Like
Yes.
we very much let our children be feral
Yep.
because, I
Naked
mean,
peeing outside.
girl, and, and I mean, they're just we let them be the wild children that they are, and
Yep.
we just don't. Um, yeah, and I mean, I think that's how the summary of how we met. Like,
Yeah. And I think that's so funny because you're right. Like, finding people who parent similar, right? Like, we don't parent the same, and that's beautiful because there's something you're like, huh, I have not tried that. And you're like, oh wait, hold on, you do this? Like it you want those people to be able to, bounce ideas off of, or when it's a really hard day, it's like, I really want to beat this child, but I didn't, and I just need someone to say congratulations, Like you you want those people who understand that I could be a different parent if I truly didn't care as much as I do.
And let me tell you, the more that we hang out and the less that I allow myself to care in the best ways, it's like, whoo, I needed this, Lord. Like the stress, honey. Um,
Yes.
but it is challenging, man. Until you and I really connected, I could not m make a real mom friend connection. It was really getting to me. It was like, damn, am I just like, does nobody like me? Like, is it me?
It's like high school again. Like, what?
It's like, is it me? Am I the drama? Like, I don't, but, because I remember, so my son, um, my husband's friend group, it was actually very crazy. It was two, I want to say three of us that had children within like the same 3 months,
Mm.
like within a span of 3 months. Um, and these are his lifelong friends. They've been in each other's lives since like elementary, middle, high school. A lot of them went to university together. And so in my head, it was, and then made it even crazier. Um, one of them actually moved here to Huntsville,
Oh God.
right? It was either right after or right before their child was born. So in my head, it was like, okay, like you've got built-in family, you've got built-in
Mm-hmm.
friends. Like we don't have to fight to try to find you somebody to hang out with, especially because we had already made the decision to keep our son
Mm-hmm.
home for a while. And so that socialization piece, you have to be super intentional about it when you're home with your kid.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just thought we was just gonna do this thing together. Like we're here.
Like a
Here actually
village.
she took off, not took off, but she decided to stay home for a while because they were in a new city. They moved after because they actually pulled their child out of daycare when they moved and decided to keep the baby home. And so I was like, yeah, like we can hang out, like we can parent together sometimes, and la da da da. And so it was one day I had gone out there. She's also the mom is also like beauty influencer, lash
Name
artist.
names.
Oh, the drama.
I love it. You said when you said, "Is it me? Am I the drama?" I said, "Yes, I am the drama."
I mean, I know I am. Um, but she, I ain't trying to comfort girl's career at all. That's the reason I'm not gonna do that one. But she was getting her lash business off the ground, and she asked me to if I wanted to come and get my lashes done. And I was like, yeah, girl, absolutely. We hadn't talked in a while. We can chat. And we are different in a lot of ways. Like she's very girly,
Hmm.
and anybody knows me, I got both, like real tomboy, real out in the streets over here, but then also when I want to, I can very much be very femme, very,
Very much.
you
I've
know
seen it, and you, woo,
yeah.
girl looks
So
good.
it's like I'm a good mix of both.
Yeah.
um so we talked, and she was like, yeah, how are you doing, how's things going, blah blah blah. I was like, girl, trying not to murder this man in my sleep, like just it.
Joking, but real.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
because if early postpartum,
Mm, and do. Hmm.
it, it takes some women. Moms are moms from the time they conceive. Fathers don't become fathers until their children are in their hands, and even still in the
Oh,
process. And so there was a lot of frustration. And so I was like, yeah, let's just, go and talk, have girl mom
yeah.
talk. And I was just like, yeah, try not to murder this man in my sleep. And she immediately was like, oh, girl, no, I don't can't believe you're talking about your husband like that. And girl, I can't wait till my man gets home and da da da
Uh,
da da.
uh.
But what made it so crazy for me is I know this is not y'all's relationship, honey, because I
My
know
man, tell me
y'all.
about what your man do and don't be
No,
doing.
and it's not even my man telling me. It's the
Oh.
way that her husband would like discuss stuff
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. And I'd be like, girl, so we can't even keep it real. And so,
Yeah.
it was kind of like, but I would still try to get the kids together, and um,
Oh,
because it was like they're still cousins,
right.
like. But then, we got the politics thing with this last election. It got real murky because we just had
Ideas.
very
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
views. And it wasn't that I had this last election was weird. And normally I don't let that stuff sway me
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
relationships and friendships. But the way this man was talking, I immediately, my child cannot sit in a room with you,
Mm.
because the hateful rhetoric and the way that you're speaking about women and their bodies and their rights, and the LGBTQ plus community, and you absolutely cannot.
No.
And it was just girl. And so that was when I kind of just shut myself down a little bit to trying to make friendships as a mom, because it was like, we're supposed to be family, or so I thought. And yeah,
Yeah.
you just really bullshitting me right now, and I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it.
You brought up a couple good things because I do there's a difference between trying to make mom friends when you have younger kids versus when they get older.
Hmm.
Part of it is like when my kids got in school, it became a little easier because they had the friends and they were making the friends themselves. Outside of like when they're younger, you have to make the friends and with the parents and then bring the kids together.
Yeah.
Maybe they get along at the park and you're like, oh, hey, want to get them together again. And then like that can, start a friendship. So it is different, like because I remember especially the way we did things with our babies
Hmm.
when they were babies, doing cloth diapers and only breast milk
You
for
did cloth
baby.
diapers, girl.
Yeah, yeah,
Woo.
we did for both of them. Right. And so, but what that response that you got from her was, it's a common one when you talk about things that are different from people's ideas
Yeah.
or what they were told or what even the idea that they have of their image of themselves
Mhm.
in their relationship. Because that's what it sounds like. If you're like, I know your life isn't like that, but you want me to think your life is like that. You want me to think that you have this loving relationship. You're not ready to, you're not in the throes of newborn or infant chaos,
Right.
right? Like you want to put out this image, but and some of that may be like society or what people are supposed to do, but that is a detriment to other parents and moms when we're in these spaces. And when we talk about postpartum depression, if I come to a friend or someone who's in a similar space and I say, ah, man, I'm ready to just shake this baby, and they're like, oh God, I could never, that doesn't make me want to tell anyone else
Right.
or share that or even get the help that I might be needing in that space.
Because it's very judgmental and critical.
Judgmental and
And then
critical.
you
Yep.
start to question yourself, like,
Yes.
maybe I'm just a little off my rocker because
Yep.
everybody else is acting like this is just okay.
And in reality, it's like, no, girl, you was almost there 2 days ago,
Hmm.
but you feel however you feel about it, and you sharing it, it doesn't feel like, you know, you can say, no, wow, I could never imagine that. And
Yeah.
so I will say, like, infant and baby, it can be so difficult. I went to so many, like, mom exercise groups and mommy and me yoga and all this stuff. And it was like, the moms and parents there were like trying to one up, be like, oh, well, my baby started crawling at 3 months. It's like, bitch, I don't care. Like, my baby ain't there yet, Like, or I'd be
Yeah.
like, I put some Cheerios in front of him to get him to take a few. Oh, I could, no, crawling for food? That's crazy. No, my baby's hungry, okay? And it's a motivator. And he gonna crawl to get this Cheerio.
Because I'd probably crawl to get some snacks too, period.
Exactly. Like, I started walking as a kid for some fries on a couch. Like, okay, it's generational at this point. Food is a motivator in my house.
That's funny. Because we still get up and get out of our house to go get food.
Correct.
Like, that's one of the very few things I'll
Exactly.
get up for.
Exactly. So it's like in that time, instead of coming together and being like, no, I get it, I understand it, or even just like listening, right? It becomes this one up of like, oh, well, my baby is walking and my baby is doing this, or I could never imagine that, or my family isn't this. And it becomes such a judgment place and people don't necessarily feel comfortable sharing and or connecting. And I did it. Like I was like, oh no, if you ask me, I'd be like, I'm not going to these mom groups and support groups. Fuck that shit. Like no, I don't. No, I don't want the judge because I am confident in what I'm doing. That's the other thing. And if you push back on some people, then it becomes a challenge or it becomes that you're the aggressive or angry or whatever the image is when really it's like, no, you're dealing with some of your own stuff and I'm very comfortable and aware of what I'm doing and you're projecting that onto me,
Mm-hmm.
which can be a lot of it when we talk about making friends in parenthood.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I hear when you say, or her be like, oh no, because I'm listen, the way I be so over my husband breathing, like even now, why do you breathe so loud? Why?
Especially when you
Yep,
overstimulation is such a thing and people don't get it. Like,
yep,
your footsteps are a little heavy. I need you to take it
yeah.
down. Yeah,
But
they don't. Mm-hmm.
the other thing you said though is having your kid around someone with that energy, like especially males, right? Like we got boys, and we're gonna do a whole episode on this one. Moms raising boys,
Mm-hmm.
but we know we have to get those male figures in their
Yes.
lives, and it can't just be their dad. We want it to be their dad, like that should be an important figure, but even dad's friends, it makes a difference on like understanding social interactions and relationships like as they grow and become older. And so I'm very picky and just like you should be on the type of stuff that you're feeding in the energy around my children.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just real. Like if you have these ideas of what women are supposed to do and rights they're supposed to have and all this stuff and it does not align, with how we do things in our house, no. you know like there is room for you to be different and have it, but there's not room for it to be opposing.
Yeah, it just there's no room for hate.
Correct.
There's and I think a lot of times within our households and the comfort of our friend groups, we say things and we do things in this laughy, jokey way sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times you may not have any ill intent behind it. But I've even had to learn how to check my language because my child repeats everything.
Then they
He
do, sure
repeats
do.
and when I realized that I really needed to tighten up, my child, Lord, don't let the people come for me. My child hurt his hand or something, and he let out a clean, oh son of a bitch.
That is still funny to me.
And it was like, oh my God, okay. So we've reached that point where the things that come out of our mouths is very important. And so even now, like, there's no me and my household, we're very loving. I'll put it that way. Like
Yeah,
it's a lot of love here for all
yeah,
people. Unless you give us a reason and be like, no, you got to stay over there. And but sometimes our language, just because of the culture and the environments that we grew up in,
yeah,
can be less than a reflection of what we actually believe.
yeah,
And so, I'm very particular about like I have to check myself, and my husband like, don't say that. There's a better way to say it.
yeah.
Just because at some point this child is going to go outside and repeat everything that you've ever said to him or around him that you didn't even know he was listening to. So to have somebody who is intentionally spewing hate and things like that, it's like, no.
No, we
And then
can't do
the,
that.
the kicker for me was you've got all these opinions about what the world should look like right now. But you're very much okay with your child sitting in here and watching John Wick at 1. I think
the
I think our priorities are a little messed up, friend. I
the
don't.
contradictions, that and and there is a space, right? So, if this was someone, and it already sounded like there was like signs that this friendship relationship wasn't going great. Because there are definitely spaces where people I don't agree with necessarily how they raise their kids or what they do. I just know that it's going to be a supervised thing. Like if we're doing
Oh,
any type of
absolutely.
playing or play dates, things like that, it's supervised. Like I'm not dropping my kid off. They're not doing sleepovers. Like there's literally only one person couple that we even let our kids do sleepovers with anyway, outside of, a couple family members. So like we're not doing that anyway. But it's gonna be it's because it's like the kids get along, they're not in any danger or anything. And it may just be like that. I don't agree with how you do things completely in your house, but I think you're a good person.
Hmm.
Okay, we can make that work. That's like that flexibility of being like, we don't have to agree on everything. Like, you don't have to have exactly how I do stuff, but it's like, it's those boundaries, right? It's those systems I'm going to have a place where it's like, no, we're not going to go all in.
Yeah.
We're right here at playdate level, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like, we're not going to go out and get brunch together, me and mom, friend, or whatever, but we'll take the kids to Chuck E. Cheese or Chick-fil-A or something. Like,
I don't know,
yeah.
girl. I a lot of time I just I'm not able to force it.
Mm.
Even though the kids get along, like if we really don't vibe, I don't want to sit here and have to pretend to want to talk to you for the next 30 minutes to 2 hours. Like,
See,
this is my this is my time too. Like, like I prefer that we do something that we both like,
uh-huh.
me and the child can enjoy. Like, yeah, I don't want to sit across from you and force conversation. Mm.
See, okay, so for me, it's not forced because I like them as a
No,
person. I don't
um,
agree with maybe their ideas or their how they do things, but I think they're a good person. And so for me, it's always a person. So it's not forced. We're not going to get into details. We're not going to go into politics. We're not going to go into things that would be opposing, right? We can sit here and talk about, oh my God, this child did blah, 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 blah. Like, it may just be child centered,
mhm.
and that's okay for me. Like, I'm still getting that interaction, and I'm okay. It's not a waste of my time. The kids are fine. So for me, it's not forced. It's truly like understanding and knowing where that person is.
Yeah,
I understand, I accept where you are. I'm not going to push you to be where I'm at or to go to any other level, but you're not going to drag me to any level that you're on either. And we're here for our kids, but we do enjoy each other's company
yeah.
when we stay in these ranges. Like, so to me, that's how I've been able to, you know because otherwise these kids wouldn't have no friends.
And I think that's my problem because I've reached this point in my life, and it's really been recently since having my child, where even on a superficial level of just,
Mm-hmm.
casual banter, I can still feel your energy. And it just doesn't, if it doesn't sit right in my spirit,
Yeah.
it just doesn't work. And I don't want it to be that way. Because I know the child needs friends. But it's just right now, I think for me, especially because postpartum has been so challenging for me,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with the postpartum depression. I didn't have much casual banter for people. I didn't have much, oh, the weather, oh, look at the kids, like, don't they look, it was just, if we were going to talk, like, what are we talking about?
Mm.
What are we wasting oxygen on at this point? Like, yeah, that's
I
just
Yeah.
where
No, I
that's just
see.
where I
Yeah.
was, and I've remained in that space of I don't really have a lot of energy for people I don't align with. I'll put it that
Yeah.
way. Mm.
That's fair. No, that's fair. And that's where we differ,
Mhm.
right? And but where we can still come together and be like, we just align on so many things. And even I remember having to, like, Lorenzo, my husband, was like, "You probably should apologize to Jasmine." And I was like, "What?" Because after one time we went to the kite
Oh,
festival, and I was like, your your son came over, and he's like, "Here, I want you to." It was something that he had in his mouth, and I was like, "No, I'm not gonna do that. It's not sanitary." I was like, "No, you can do it." And he was like, "Oh, sad." And then you were like, "Mama, do it." I was like, "No, Mama won't because it's not sanitary, Mama." He's like, "You can't parent her. You can't tell her how to parent her child." And I was like, "But it was not sanitary."
girl, I don't even think I blinked
And
twice.
you
Like, I was
did
just
it.
like, I'm just like, whatever.
You you didn't. And I didn't even say it. But I know that in the past has rubbed people the wrong way. Things like that. Me just being like, or me even, parenting your child. Because for me, when I have kids around, like when we've established a rapport, you know who I am as a parent. Like when your child, they're my child. Like any given point, I have 3 to 5 children, is what I tell
Mhm.
people. Because if we've understood that about each other, then if I bring food for my kids, I'm gonna bring food for
Yeah.
yours. If they ask for me for a snack, I'm like, yeah, I think your mom will be okay with this, and I'm gonna give it to them.
Yeah.
Because for me, that's the kind of friendships and relationships that we've established, but some people don't respond that way. And so so Lorenzo, like, he's like, I don't know, you were a little aggressive, and I'm like, no. And so I said, so you were like, no, I didn't think about it. He's just a different parent from me. Okay,
Yeah.
that's why he ain't got no parent friends. Sorry, he catching strays. But yeah, that's part of it, is like when when you say, like, we're bringing our families together, or we're doing these activities, or your kids coming up to me, is like, I have another kid now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do things for my kid that I wouldn't do for yours,
Mhm.
in that space. And that's, to me, how my friendships go. And how I built my mom friends and parent friends. But also that means I'm gonna be like, no, I'm not doing that. Okay. Get your
Yeah.
daddy to do it.
Yeah. I also I do want to kind of circle back though to like these early months postpartum. Um, I find it so common, like myself, and
Mm-hmm.
then looking at people around me, who've had children recently, how we find ourselves isolated,
Yep.
and it's so crazy to me because it's like, especially at this phase in life, you can probably name about 4 or 5 people that you know with children
Mm-hmm.
around the same age.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it so hard for us to connect? Why is it so hard for us to find just like common ground in this space?
Okay. Because how much work have we put into our friendship?
Yeah,
Right?
a lot of
Right?
work.
Like,
Yeah.
we communicate with each other. We have these open conversations, like, not
Mhm.
even just on our lives, right? We literally will get in the car, or like on the phone, or whatever, and we're having these conversations, and that is relationship building. You
Yes.
know, Friendships are relationships, and it takes work. And Lord knows, if my couples therapist hasn't taught me a damn thing, is that relationships take work. Okay, and,
Mhm.
and especially if you want them to succeed and grow with you. And
Yes.
so when we think about those early times, we don't got time
Yeah.
to put into another person when we're trying to recover our damn selves, keep this baby alive, and like nurture our relationship if we have a husband or spouse or
Mhm.
someone. Like, and let alone any other family relationships, like moms and dads and cousins and sisters and brothers. Like, we don't necessarily have the space
Yeah.
to nurture a friendship,
Hmm.
especially if it's new. Like, I think older ones may be easier, and especially if you have somebody else who's in the same space, like they're got a newborn or a baby, it can be hard too, because they're going through the same thing where they're like, I just don't have capacity.
That,
So, like,
that's fair.
that's
That's
what
fair.
I think. Like, having a 10,000 foot view of it and being, years away from it.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what else is crazy to me? Being one of the first people out of my peers, my friend group, to have
Yes.
a child,
They don't get
I
it.
lost so many friends.
Yep.
Um, and even my relationships with people, like family members, like
Mm-hmm.
when I say strain, me and my sister now have our relationship is just it's strained.
Yeah.
And it's just the lack of understanding for moms in postpartum is wild.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. And I just I wish that people were more understanding, um, more willing to treat childbirth like the traumatic process that it is. This person needs time to physically heal
Yeah.
and mentally heal.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of times people are like, oh, well, if you want to talk to people, reach out, or if you want to do something, say something, or and I remember reaching out to my sister not too long ago and just kind of, explaining to her like, man, my feelings were really hurt. You When you would come visit, you were never here to sit
Mm.
with me. Like you would come and, you stay at my house, but you were just out, hanging out with your friends. And I get it. You're coming in town to visit people, but like, hey, you
I'm
know,
here.
let's sit, let's talk, let's chat. And for her, it was just very much like, oh, well, you're not doing anything. You don't want to do anything. You want to be in bed by 8 o'clock. Like you don't want to go outside. You don't want to. Well, no. Um, this very tiny human that you're so in love with because he's so adorable has sucked everything out of me, literally. And then even a really, really good friend that I had, I told her that I was pregnant, and she had had some back and forth with children. She ended
Mm.
up having, I think she had a miscarriage at one point. And then she had, um, she also ended up having an
Mm.
abortion,
Mm.
just because of some issues she had with the child's father. And that was maybe 2 or 3 months before I found out I was pregnant.
Ugh.
And, after my first trimester, I didn't tell much of anybody. Only people who knew because of how sick I was, and we needed help with the dog because we were kind of back and forth to the hospital for a while.
Yeah.
And but she just stopped talking. Like she said, "Oh, congratulations," and then radio silence. And it was
Mm.
just like, wow, why is it that in this space when I need people, everybody is just disappearing and ghosting me? Like
Yeah.
it was so crazy.
Yeah. No, it there's something about childbirth, pregnancy that like people go wild. Like literally, I don't know what happens. Like the brain chemistry, like it's changing for the birthing person, but God, it's changing for other people too because I don't know.
Mm,
Um, but what in the work that I've done in like looking back at this stuff is like clearly they had things around pregnancy, your pregnancy, or, like the friend who had her ups and downs and back and forth with pregnancy and things like that. Clearly, she had her own stuff going on, right? That unfortunately might not have left space for her to be the friend that you needed
yeah.
and or need. And, unfortunately, those things have to exist together where it's like, I didn't get what I needed as a friend and support, but also you were going through something and maybe you didn't need my support, but you were going through something that didn't allow you to be the friend that I needed.
Yeah.
And so for me, when I can look back at those times and things and like even family and being like, yeah, you really struggled with me being pregnant and like really wanted things to go the way you wanted to go and me to do what you want to do and I didn't. And so you responded or reacted and it it's on you.
Mhm.
So I just remove myself. I remove the personal feeling that can be, and I say, no, you have some things that you need to deal with. And like usually there's a track record of stuff that we're like, nah, you just really ain't deal with your
Yeah.
shit. But I'm not gonna take that on.
Yeah.
Even now, like I don't. You can come to me like, when you were pregnant, you didn't care about me. You're right. I did not care about you. I
Didn't
did not,
did
and
not don't feel sorry about it. Still
don't
don't give a damn. Even
now.
to this day, like, yes, I'm going to bed at 8 o'clock.
Correct.
I absolutely am.
And if you're not willing to work around those things, like if you have friends who are like, because when I had my first, I had my ride or die. My best friend still to this day, she has a kid. We were pregnant during my second pregnancy, her first and only pregnancy together. But 3 years before that, I had my 6 year old, and we were like, she was my tequila, my car tequila buddy. Like we were staying out 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, like having sleepovers. Like that was the life we were living. Okay.
Hmm.
And so when I got pregnant, it really shifted things for us, but she shifted with
Uh,
me, which is why we are still able to be the best friends that we are today.
yeah.
And then when she got pregnant, she was like, oh my God, I understand things, but like, and I was pregnant at the time. I was at a place where I was like, okay, when your baby's born, I'll come because her baby was born a few months before mine. I was like, I'll come for a week or two, to Florida and I'll help you out, but I can't go too much further because they won't let me get on the plane because my baby will be due soon, like we were at that place.
Mm-hmm.
But our way we hung out and stuff shifted when I was pregnant for the first time. And like we still were able to make it work. Like we used to do our karaoke but be blackout drunk. We were like,
Hmm.
okay, well, I can't drink, or maybe I'll have a glass of wine because I feel comfortable with that. You do what you want to do if you want to, and let's still have
Yeah.
fun. I'm gonna go to bed at 11. You might stay up past that, but I'm gonna get up early and I'll make you
Yeah.
breakfast, right?
Yeah.
Like we changed. She changed. I would say that she changed with me
Yeah.
because she's like, this is temporary. She understood that. And at the time, I didn't realize how important that is. I look back now and I'm like, that is huge because you do lose friends, especially if they're not. We never thought she was going to get pregnant. She never wanted kids. So,
Yeah.
like, to understand that that's the type of purpose she was, and for her to change and accept and us to be friends through and after that, is like, no, you lose people during that time,
You do.
especially if they're like, well, this doesn't affect me. Like, I'm just gonna find somebody else to drink tequila with and like stay out till 4 o'clock in the morning with. And so that's having had that experience and then having had other people who I did lose. It's like, no, if you want to, you will.
Yeah.
If they want this friendship to last, they want this relationship. If it means something enough to them and they're willing to understand what you're saying, they'll do it.
Yes.
They'll make that effort. And maybe it's not in the season.
Yeah.
You know,
And
maybe
I
they'll circle
think
back.
I think that for me, it gave me a lot of perspective on the people in my life
Mm,
because some of the people that showed up for me that actually really blew my mind, some of my clients,
yeah.
my gym clients, um, because I had to stop working pretty early on in my pregnancy because I just is life. Um, but the way most of the mothers that I had specifically, their kids were a little older, like I think the youngest at the time was maybe 5,
Mm,
but they sent stuff even if they couldn't show up. They checked in, they would text
they
me.
remembered.
Um, yes, and it was just so crazy to me. But what I think that has really stuck with me, you don't forget how people treat you
No.
during pregnancy and postpartum. And it's not like, oh, I'm holding this grudge. It's like I was at the lowest place and the most vulnerable place that I could have ever been. And you're talking about somebody who's been hyper independent since birth. Like, nigga, I don't need nobody. Okay. But this space was so uncertain.
Hmm.
There's so much uncertainty. There's there's a lot of fear around it, and
Yeah.
honestly, in a lot of ways, you find yourself feeling very helpless.
Yep.
And having people that look at you and like, oh, you're just so selfish, and
Yes.
oh, you just, well, you didn't think about me. Girl, I
And
remember
didn't.
for my birthday, the first, my first birthday after Jordan was born, I believe. Um, I was like, I'm gonna plan this trip. I want to go do, X, Y, and Z. Me and my husband were just gonna go have some time, do some stuff by ourselves. He was planning something. And then my sister, our birthdays are 9 days apart, 2 years
Hmm.
and 9 days apart exactly. And she was like, oh, well, I'm having this party. Can you come? It's in Florida and I want to do yada yada yada. And I was like, you know what? Okay. And everybody was at this big Airbnb, and I was like, how about we're going to come because it sounds like a great idea, but we're going to just stay at a hotel versus
Hmm.
staying in the Airbnb.
Love that.
You would have thought I told her, fuck your birthday. And she, oh, it's always all about you and what you want and da da da. And I was like, so there
Hmm.
was a lot of back and forth about that, but I just was like, you know what? Let's just go. Let's have a good time. I'll do something for myself another time. Fast forward to last year, my 30th birthday.
Oh,
I reached out to her and I was trying to plan something. Like I really wanted to pour into myself.
yeah.
Really just wanted to do all of the things that I loved. And I was like, I want to get a house, put all of my people that I love in this house. We go out, have a good time. We get brunch cater, get a
Lo-
chef and
Love
da,
that.
da, da. I'm not coming to spend this much money on this stupid birthday in Huntsville. Like I could go do some, I shit you not, I shit you not. And I was just like, okay. And then I also like I gave her the dates because I think my whatever my birthday always falls right around or on Mother's Day
Yep.
and graduations, big university city. So a lot of graduations happen that weekend. So I
Yep.
was like, I'm gonna push my birthday back a weekend, which is her birthday weekend. But it was just like, listen, this is 30. This is a big one. Let me have this weekend. Like you've
Oh,
had, she sent out an invitation for her birthday. We have mutual friends because we've gone to the same school. Like, and just I was like, this is
oh,
so crazy to me. Like you are really refusing to step outside of yourself
yes.
and see
Yes.
that. And it was her responses were, oh, well, we've been doing so much for you. We did the gender reveal and then the baby shower, and then I was there for the baby blessing. That is
Yes.
all about the baby.
Not
You realize
you.
that. Like
And
none
people
of
don't
it,
separate it.
because the moment this child came out of me, don't nobody give a damn about me. It's all, man, where's the baby? And when I tell you, girl, like even to this day, like I still have to, like I love my sister to death, but it's like I still gotta kind of hold you at arm's length because I realize you're just not capable
Yes.
of being the support person that I need you to
Yes.
be in this space. And it sucks
Yep.
because you were the person that I thought above anybody else would
We'll
be
be there.
right
Mm-hmm.
here with me and this child on this
Yep.
couch,
Yep.
just kicking it. And the fact that that was not the case was
Oof.
still will hurt, but you kind of get to this place where you've got these calluses around certain feelings with people because
Yeah.
I got to move forward. Like I got to show up. I got to continue to be the best mother that I
Mm-hmm.
can be and not allow your drama and your stuff to bring me down.
It's so interesting. Having, and we'll another episode we're gonna have to do. Is just like that family relationship, just family. Because you talk about your sister and where you guys are now, but me and my sister actually our relationship got much better after I had kids.
Mm,
It got much better. So that's definitely something like we should talk about. I definitely want, especially like sibling relationships and then parents. So for me, being in a family of folks who are main characters, okay, we got main character energy. When you are pregnant and postpartum, all stuff, and just listening to how you're talking about your sister, like, yeah, all of that sounds like it's about you, because it technically is about you, but it's not. You know that it's about the baby. You know that this is just something that wouldn't even happen if you weren't pregnant.
mhm,
So like, this thing though, your birthday is literally about you. And listen, I have dropped so many people around my birthday. Okay, like it is a sore. I have a friend right now that we are still in a healing process. Okay, because I am very you set a clear boundary. You said, let me stay at this hotel. I'm still going to show up for you. And then we all can win.
mhm,
And on her end, it wasn't what she wanted.
mhm,
Like, and that's truly where it's like, I see this is a you thing. And
yeah,
once I understand it, and I'm like, oh, I can release that shit. To me,
yeah,
like, that's the easiest part. Like, I just need to understand where's this coming from? What is this? Take my accountability. What could I have done different? What could I have done better? Not a thing. Oh, okay, cool. We talked we communicated properly. Like whatever it was, all the things were done on my end. Oh no, this is a you thing,
mhm,
and I'm releasing all anything around that. And so that's unfortunately like pregnancy and postpartum. And then when you have other friends, like you're in the space where like it should be about you, not the baby, you. And so when you have folks who are coming in and you're like trying to make friends with them, and there's like, well, I don't get to talk about myself at home, and I don't get to talk about myself with my family, like, and you don't get to talk about yourself with your friends. Where the hell do you have space now?
right.
Like, where are you at in all of this mommyhood and parenthood if you don't have, the space to do it? Because when you get around friends, maybe it's seen as a challenge or they try to one up you and you're like, well, shit, I can't even say nothing here.
Right.
So that can be where it also becomes very difficult to trust and to make those
Mhm.
friendships. Like, oh, but we gotta give them the help. So, what things would you say help to make these friendships?
Um, giving other mothers, other parents space to just be.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, there's not a lot of room. You always hear, oh, moms, all they want to talk about is themselves and their children. That's all I got right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I got. Um, and that's what I kind of need to talk about. You know,
Yeah.
like I need to be able to vent and have these conversations and talk about my experiences and understand how I can grow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then also just being understanding, knowing that we don't always have to have the same views. We don't always have to have the same perspective.
Mm.
Um, but as long as we're respectful of each other and nobody is being, hateful or
Mm-hmm.
taking shots at people, like just let people be. Let people come and just be their authentic, messy, chaotic selves. Because that's just kind of where you exist in motherhood, is just chaos most of the time.
Oh, that is so, it's interesting because like the first time you came over to my house and you brought your son and they were together and that was the first time like our dynamic was different
Mhm.
in the sense like because your attention was split.
Yes.
Normally it was like it was just the two of us or we were maybe at an event or something, but that was the first time I had seen you in like full mommyhood
Mm.
and like a split attention. And it was different. But we also were like, we're just gonna sit here and that's
Yeah.
okay. Like, we're just gonna talk and that's okay. Like, and I was like, my house isn't as clean as it could be, and that's okay. Like we like just be like, I'm gonna have my head wrap on or my bonnet. You know what? And that or my pajamas, okay? And knowing that that's not, that's no disrespect to how I feel about you. Like, you didn't even bother to put real clothes on for me. No, right? It's just how much comfort and respect I have for how you see me that I feel like I could show up like this, and that doesn't change how you even view me.
Right.
And that's the difference. Um, so yeah, letting people be, I think that's huge in so many different ways. And even so, I sometimes I get really bored with people's stories. It's now that's only because I hear so many, right? So I can get bored or even dissociate, right? Sometimes it's like, oh, that should not have happened, and I can tell you all the reasons why it shouldn't have. But for me, like doing it in a fun way, like, oh, you want to tell your story? Okay, let's do drunk or a baby. Like, was I was I drunk or was I a baby when I did this thing? Was I pregnant or was I just drunk when I peed on the floor? Like make it fun. Share your stories in a fun way. When we talk about friendships and stuff.
Mhm. I'm sorry, that is hilarious to me. I want to play.
See?
I want to
Like it doesn't have to be this sad thing. Like we can laugh until we cry. We can cry until we laugh. Like we can all do that. But like let's have it in a fun way. We're just like, this is my birth experience. Like make it something that you can share and you give people a space, but like it is a growing and nurturing thing.
Yeah.
That's how my brain thinks because I'm like, God, I don't want to hear another story. But like if you make it fun and be like, I don't know, I'm all in.
Yeah. We gotta play. That's it. We're our next event, friend. We're gonna have a cocktail night and we're gonna play drunk or a baby. I've decided. I've decided. Yeah.
I have some, no spoilers, but I do a lot of stuff drunk.
You and me both, okay?
But yeah, like, that's a huge part of it. Sharing stories, giving people that space. Um, and and one of my biggest thing is just like truly understanding like you don't have to be there every moment.
No.
Like, you don't have to talk every day. You don't have to show up for everything. You just have to show, like, communication is the biggest part. Communicate while you can. And if you have a friend and, like, are trying to build that friendship, that will be enough. If it's
Hmm.
like, I
For
really want to be there
everyone.
for your birthday, but I really can't. And it's not oops, I didn't get your message or we were sick, like, after the fact. Like, be open, honest, ahead. And I think that's where our friendship really came from is like, no, this is the type of parent and person I am, and like I'm gonna try to ditch you if you do this thing. Like we're just very open
Yeah.
in things, and I think when you can do that and truly feel that and build that relationship, understanding it is a relationship, then it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
Absolutely.
it's hard out here in these mom friend streets, and like there you gonna kiss a lot of frogs.
Yep.
Okay, they're
Listen,
gonna
it's okay though. Let them
let them
go, release them,
go.
and move on because there is a mom friend out there.
Yes.
Consider us your new mama besties because we can always
Hey.
talk. Okay, I think that's it. Our new mom besties. I love that. But the friendship friendship, it'll come. It may take some time, but quality, especially just, we got these kids 18 plus years,
That
okay?
part.
You need quality over quantity because
You
the
only need
shit
one.
is ghetto. It is real ghetto. And if you cannot, if you don't have something that you can just keep it a buck with, it's it's just gonna take more from you and not pour into you. So just be strong. We can be your virtual besties. You can message us. You can talk to us. You can hit us up on any of our social media platforms. I promise you, we will make time and we will make space. But hang in there, moms. I'm not gonna say that motherhood gets better, but when you find your person, it makes it so much easier to do it when you're not doing it alone.
Not motherhood does get
I
better.
heard you
Don't
lie.
scare the people.
I'm not scaring nobody because there is no mother on the other side of this journey that has yet to look at me and tell me to my face, "Oh, we got so much better." I've heard, "Oh yeah, you'll be tired for the next 18 years." Like, "Oh yeah, they grow up and they just do other stupid shit." Like, girl, I'm not convinced it
This is
gets better.
so
I'm not.
funny. Okay, maybe motherhood doesn't get better, but maybe we get better at understanding and adapting to motherhood. Maybe that's what gets better.
Or we care less as
Ooh,
we as
we
we
could
can
care less.
we get through it. Yeah.
That is so funny. Oh my gosh. But yes, you're absolutely right. We want to hear your stories. We want to look, if you have a fun story and you want to share with us, definitely be like, start it off with like, was I drunk or was I pregnant? Was and
Definitely.
listen, and we will love it. We'll read it, we'll laugh. Okay. We want to know your story. Share them with us. Our email is PhysioPhitHSV at Gmail. Our Instagram and Facebook is PhysioPhitHSV. And then you can DM us and all the other things. You can catch this recording, which you may be watching on YouTube because we put all of our recordings up there. We really just want to continue to bring y'all the real, the conversations, because we are real life mamas out here struggling and thriving and all the things that come with motherhood. And so we get it. Okay. We get it. But the last thing is we need y'all to come to Birth to Bounce Back. Okay.
Yes.
April 12th, 2 to 5. Like, oh my goodness, Yellowhammer Fund, our sponsor, our presenting sponsor, like, absolutely amazing organization. But we have so many amazing things lined up for moms, dads, parents, grandparents, the whole family, children, relaxation room. Like, mental health is a huge part of it. And I don't know if y'all know, but we go back and forth on this. We talk about mental health all the time. Like, all these conversations, all of this comes from our extensive experience with mental health resources.
Yes.
I say extensive, okay, because I literally am seeing a therapist almost every week.
Every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. If you can't find me, I am with my
That is
therapist.
funny. Yep, and that's been for years. So we get it, we understand, and if you're not in that mental health space right now or feel like you're there, don't worry. It can build. It can look a lot of different ways. It doesn't have to be sitting one on one with the therapist doing talk therapy. There's so many other ways that honestly we may have to talk about that too. There's so many things we have to talk about. But yes, so Birth to Bounce Back, April 12th, 2 to 5. We want y'all there. Share it with your folks. And yeah, these are our stories. These are the realities of being friends as moms with children.
Yeah. All right, y'all. I gotta go get my
Yeah,
hair did.
you do. Yeah. Okay. All right. Bye.